Hey y'all, welcome back to Super Geeked. I'm Victoria, and we're continuing with the Merry Kitschmas series tonight. I did a video for you guys a couple of days ago where I talked about the rarest and most sought after of vintage Christmas collectibles. So we're going to continue that tonight with blow molds, knee hugger elves, and your favorite vintage Christmas figurines. I'm very excited to share with you some of these pieces, and I hope that you enjoy this video. It's a great video for both collectors and resellers or dealers alike. So let's get into it. Okay, so tonight we're going to start where we left off on the last video, and that was with Holt Howard. I showed you some Holt Howard figurines that were holding some bottle brush trees. So I talked about Holt Howard last year in my 12 Days of Kitschmas series, which you can find on my Merry Kitschmas playlist here on YouTube. Definitely check it out because I took a deep dive in the Santa Mugs video about the company Holt Howard. But just a quick rundown. Holt Howard was started by three college buddies. Two were the Howard brothers and their friend Grant Holt. And they were known for something called the Angelabra, which my grandmother had several growing up, and your family may have had some also. But they expanded into serving tableware, dinnerware in their Christmas line. They were a catalog company. They sold mostly Christmas stuff at first, but then branched out into other home goods. And although they were catalog based, there were gift stores that carried Holt Howard products during the mid-century era. So when they moved into tableware, they came out with these Holt Howard Santa mug sets. They either had a punch bowl, like this one here, which you can see is a very adorable Santa face with the punch bowl, and then the winking Santa mugs, like we talked about in the other video. This is a beautiful example. This one sold for $295 on eBay. And Holt Howard had several versions of the winking Santa mugs. There was also this guy, which was a pitcher, and all his little mugs that matched. This one sold on a best offer. It was originally listed for $500 on eBay. And then another of the Holt Howard was this starry-eyed Santa because of his atomic star-like eyes. He is highly collectible. So that's three versions of the Santa mug that Holt Howard made. But as you can see, starry-eyed Santa is definitely the most valuable. It's the most sought after and harder to find. These were some relish plates that sold for $3,500 on eBay. This was a set of 8 mugs that sold on best offer, originally listed for $9.95. The picture set I showed you with tons of Santa mugs, more than would have originally come with the set, sold on best offer. We have this one sold for $500. This was a punch bowl that actually still has the spoon that looks like a candy cane. The starry-eyed Santa. Definitely mid-century collectors love the starry-eyed Santa best, but all of the Santas are highly collectible. This is a rare cookie jar, but as you can see, these Santas are highly collectible, highly valuable. So if you see them out in the wild, I would definitely recommend grabbing them because you're probably going to make a nice profit. Just because you find a winking Santa and it's not Holt Howard doesn't mean it's not valuable. These are the traditional winking Santa mugs that I also talked about in my 12 Days of Kitschmas series last year. You can see they still sell for a lot. This is a grouping of 11. This is another company's version of the winking Santa. This was a Nabco, which I'll talk about Nabco in a minute. Their version of the winking Santa. So still collectible and can still bring you some return on your investment. I love the Santa mugs. I have a bunch of vintage ones. Even the plastic ones you can make some money on, especially if they're still new in the package. But just some examples. So definitely keep an eye out for those winking Santas. Also be wary because they are being replicated right now since mid-century Christmas decorations are very popular. There's a lot of reproductions right now on the market. Hobby Lobby has them. I know for sure Marshall's has had them, Home Goods, so definitely make sure that yours is vintage, but again, super collectible. All right, so now we're going to talk about a company called Lefton. You've probably heard of Lefton. If you've been at any antique store, you've seen their figurines. So Lefton was a ceramics company that was started in 1941 in Chicago. And when Pearl Harbor was bombed that same year, Lefton came to the aid of one of his fellow business owners who was Japanese American because a lot of Japanese stores in Chicago were looted after the bombing. Well, because of this, there was a relationship forged with his Japanese friend that when World War II was over and America was occupying Japan, Lefton was able to become one of the first companies to actually begin manufacturing in occupied Japan during the years 1946 to 1952. So Lefton is highly collectible. They have a lot of Christmas decor that is very sought after. And I'm going to talk about three specific areas, but I just want to sort of show you the comps on these Lefton figurines. In the Christmas realm, you'll see they're quite high on some of them, and we're going to talk about some that you should definitely be on the lookout for. So Lefton had a whole line of these candy cane figurines that have candy canes incorporated with them. This is a set of 6 elves that sold for $358 on eBay. And here is another of the candy cane figurines with little angels on it. This one did have the original box, and it sold for just over $300. Here's another one. This is a music box with the candy canes, just the little figurines on top of the music box. And as we are scrolling through, you can see the candy canes were very popular theme. They were a whole series for Lefton and are very collectible. Besides the candy canes, you should definitely be on the lookout for Rudolph. Rudolph is very sought after. He is precious and he may look familiar to you, and that is because the modern reproductions that Hobby Lobby and Home Goods and places like that have are a remake of this Rudolph mug. So this was a set. This had a cup and bowl. This sold for $250. Here is the salt and pepper shaker set, and it has the original box. And I actually own the reproduction of these guys, but as you can see, they sold for $200. So definitely check out Rudolph. If you see him out and about, you're going to be looking for one of these left-in stickers. Sometimes they fall off, but a lot of left-in stickers are still attached. I don't know what kind of adhesive they used, but a lot of my figurines still have the left-in sticker, so you may still have those. If not, just definitely look them up. And then I would say the third thing to look for, so the first is the candy cane sets, the second is the Rudolph. The third would be any figurine sets like this that have more than one figure. I have 3 angels that are singing. That anything that's a grouping is going to do pretty well with the left-in figurines. Here's a set of 3 elves. Here are 3 carolers. Here are some Santas, some reindeer. So, and again with the candy canes. So definitely those 3 types of left-in figurines are very collectible. But if you find any Christmas left-in, look them up because they may be valuable too. And from Lefton, we have to talk about Nabco. Nabco, you may know them from their head vases. I have some of their head vases. Those are probably the most popular of the Nabco figurines. Nabco, like Lefton, was originally made in the United States. It was made in Bedford, Ohio. Nabco decided they wanted to get in on the Christmas market like Lefton, and they wanted to also start manufacturing in Japan. So after World War II, they got into the Japanese market also, and they definitely went heavy on the Christmas. The one thing about Nabco that you'll see is Nabco basically made a kind of the same figurines as Lefton. You see the candy cane theme. Here's another of the candy cane theme. This looks very similar to the Starry-Eyed Santa. These look a lot like Lefton. again with the candy cane. So Nabco really, this is funny. Let me show you. These look just like the Starry-Eyed Santa, except for the eyes are a little bit different. And obviously these are not as well made as the Holt Howard ones. But again, Nabco was sort of just trying to, I don't want to say copy Lefton and Holt Howard. They still have really cute figurines too. And as you can see by the price, they are still very collectible, but they certainly got their ideas from somewhere else. So here's a Santa mug set that was Nabco. So again, Nabco, very collectible. You can see the comps are very high on their figurines also. If you can find them new in the box, their boxes look very similar to Lefton's. They are usually more desirable new in the box, but I mean, you can buy them chipped and they still sell. So here is, again, here is their version of the Starry-Eyed Santa, a little messy there with their workmanship, but still sold for $200. So Nabco is another Christmas collector's brand you want to keep an eye out for. Okay, now moving on, we're going to talk about knee hugger elves. Again, in the 12 days of Kitschmas last year for my Merry Kitschmas series, I took a deep dive into the knee hugger elf where I talked about how the elf on the shelf is a direct ripoff of the knee hugger elf. That's exactly where the idea came from. As you can see, they were little elves that hugged their little knees. They're also known as pixies from those in a earlier generation, so you may hear them called pixies also. But they are definitely another mid-century treasure. Most of them are made out of felt and fabric. A lot of them are stuffed with hay or straw. Very cute, but as you can see from the comps, a lot of these groupings are selling for 200, a little under 200. Definitely if you find the Kamar knee hugger devils, they are something to grab. They on their own, single one of them will sell for $100. But generally you're going to find these selling $15, $20 a piece, or you could buy them in a grouping like this. A lot of times at estate sales, you'll have a bunch of them. If these are just a pair of them still new in the packaging and it sold for $169. So knee hugger elves are definitely collectible. I have a bunch of them. Here's another of the Kamar knee huggers. So that's a brand to look for. But if you find any old knee huggers, there's collectors everywhere that are looking for these and will pay up for them. Again, see over $100. These two guys over $100. So knee hugger elves are definitely on the list of highly collectible mid-century Christmas decorations. And lastly, we're going to talk about blow molds. Blow molds, again, I talked about the 12 days of Kitschmas. I went over the history of the blow mold and a bunch of the companies. Something to remember with blow molds, just like with ceramic Christmas trees, is that these mold companies, when they went out of business, another company often would buy the molds. And so even today, some of these older molds are still in production or have started being reproduced again. So even the modern version, you can still get these styles because they're still being made. So we're going to talk about the most collectible. So again, there are three that I would highly recommend looking out for. If you find a vintage blow mold Santa with his 9 reindeer, including Rudolph, you are in for a treat because look at the sold price here on eBay. There is Santa, there is his 8 reindeer, and old Rudolph in front. And these do not have to be in perfect condition. A lot of times blow molds have paint chips. Some of them even have the plastic gets brittle. They may have small holes. But look at that sold price, y'all. So definitely Santa's reindeer is a blow mold to be looking out for. Even if you find Santa in 2 deer, he's still going to sell for over $100. So that is something to keep an eye out for. Another one is this general mold Santa right here riding a train. This is actually hard to find. This one only has 1 train car with it, but sometimes you can find 2 or 3 train cars with it. This one sold for $1,250. General Foam was bought out, so There is reproductions of later versions of this. This is an earlier version of it. You can tell by the colors they use. There's a black one and also a red train engine, but the green ones are the older ones. So again, if you find Santa with his reindeer, great. If you find Santa riding a train, great. The next one I would recommend keeping an eye out for is the Empire Nativity set. I actually own Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. I do not have the wise men or the shepherd or the flock. But if you find a set of these, you can either group them together or you can sell them individually. A lot of times there's people like me who are collectors who are looking for the extra pieces I'm missing. So I wouldn't want to purchase a whole set necessarily. But the nativity set is very collectible. You'll see this when I scroll through all the comps. There's a lot of them that are the nativity sets that people are looking for. And Empire was one of my more favorite of the blow mold companies. I have a lot of Empire Santas that I really like. So they're a good company to know and to remember. And then there's the rare pieces like this Becco set. This is a caroler set. This had four, I would say about 4 feet tall carolers, 2 boys and 2 girls. Not in the most pristine condition, but they are rare. So this sold on best offer. It was listed for $850. A great example of rare blow molds that you can be on the lookout for that are different and unique that people will definitely want to grab. So let's just scroll through the comps here. I showed you Santa and his reindeer. Here's another set that sold for $2,000. We've got the black trade Santa. Here is 5 extra reindeer that you can add if you were missing reindeer. Here are some other sets. This is a Becco set, like the carolers. Here is a General Foam's nativity set. It's a little bit different than the Empire one, but still collectible, sold for just under $1,000. Here is a Santa. Here are some versions of that train. The Santa on the train set I was talking about. Here's another one, another nativity. This is by a different company. Here's a good example. Santa and 3 reindeer, $905. Santa and 2 reindeer, $1,000. So definitely blow molds are where you should be looking if you're in the vintage Christmas market, either for yourself or to resell, because they are highly collectible. I have sold just, 2-foot size Santas and snowmen for $50 to $100. There's a lot more blow molds available in the eastern and southern United States than there are out west. So a lot of collectors are out west and are going to be paying top dollar to try to get some of these blow molds that they want to add to their collection. So definitely don't sleep on blow molds. All right, well, I hope you found that information valuable. I very much enjoy making these videos because, of course, I love vintage Christmas decorations. I have an extensive collection myself. And coming soon to this Merry Kitschmas series, you're going to get to see my collection and what I've added to it over the last year. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I share with you all kinds of vintage collectibles. I'm a reseller and I share with you my reselling journey along with other fun things. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up on the way out and I'll see you guys next time. Bye y'all.